Moonshot Dispatch, take one.
That's the second time we've been able to pull it off without anyone falling over anything. Man.
And this is like, just for those listening, this is the only take because we're live, so we can't really do other takes.
Well, we know we can't, but we are so literally back. We have been away for 2 weeks and we're finally back. It's felt like forever because we've been in Singapore. We did Token, which we're going to unpack, I guess, today. Talk about that underwhelming wizard performance. Well, that actually depends on who you talk to. I thought it was a success.
Yeah.
Anyway, Token first, introduction first. I don't know. I'm just too excited to be back. What do you want to do first, Nick?
Yeah. So I guess I don't know. Sorry for those like loyal listeners who have missed us for 2 weeks. I apologise. There was some good reasons. Yeah, the first one we were at Token conference, which is for those who don't know, there's a massive crypto conference called Token. It's sort of tours around the world. There are multiple cities it goes to. The Singapore one's always the biggest one. The Singapore one this year was a couple of weeks ago on the, I'm going to say 2nd and 3rd of October, I think.
Yep.
And yeah, it's massive. It was the biggest one yet. It was my first token. It was not your first token. So you're kind of leading me around and pointing out things. And I was like, whoa, is this normal? And you were like, absolutely not. Yeah. It was,
biggest by far. Biggest by a huge margin.
Yeah, I mean, it was the smallest one I've ever been to, but it was, you know.
That's my 5th one I've been to, and it had shifted gears from just, hey, let's go sell crypto stuff to just have everyone having fun. It was really geared towards the senses for like, come along and just be entertained.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't think people were technically, I guess on the face of it, there to do business, but no one was really there to do business, at least as far as the conference was concerned.
Yeah.
It was there to kind of, I guess a lot of people spent a lot of money to really put themselves up in lights, draw a lot of eyeballs, I guess content low, entertainment heavy.
Yeah, okay.
That's probably the way I described it.
So from my point of view, it's kind of, you split it, and I guess also for those watching, we've got some videos out there that Jared's organised for us. We took some footage of the actual conference, tried to sort of talk to a few people, so have a listen and have a watch if you're interested. But yeah, for me, it was kind of split into two sections, this whole extravaganza. One was the actual conference at Marina Bay Sands, giant, like I think it took up 4 or 5 levels of the exhibition centre. It's just absolutely massive, the amount of space it took up. And that was kind of one section, and the other section was all the side shows, so the side events, I think they're called. So I think there was like 700 or 800 side events or something like that.
Crazy.
All up. There was this big spreadsheet. You can kind of register your side event, and you had to, a lot of the side events you had to actually, register your arrival for. You had to sort of sign up to it. But that was kind of the other side of Token, where it actually had nothing to do with the conference per se. It was just a bunch of crypto people getting together, networking, whatever. For me, I felt the actual conference was all business. Like there was a lot of sort of fun, gimmicky kind of things there. But when I was manning the Independent Reserve booth, we're kind of there to like get our name out there, and anyone who's interested in talking to us and wants to become a customer, of course, comes up, has a chat, finds out our pedigree, figures out whether we're the right one for them. But really, everyone I spent like a few hours at the booth at least, and everyone who I spoke to was just trying to sell me something. Like they were there like they want to do the Telegram kind of match thing where you connect on Telegram, and then they were like, okay, so here's our product. I'm like, what? No, I'm selling you. You're not selling me. And
totally.
Anyway, so I feel like it was a lot of getting sold to, and fair enough, I suppose. People spend a lot of money buying token tickets, and they want to get some return on that. So
yeah, well, the value for me, I thought, is really in the side shows. Side shows, is that what we're calling them? Whatever. The side alley, the whatever it was. There was 800 side events. Now, I think there were a lot of people I spoke to, particularly, a lot of the events that I went to, they didn't even bother buying actual tickets to Token. There was around, I think I spoke to the organisers and they said 25,000, so they absolutely sold out to capacity.
Yeah. Okay.
But there was closer to double that actually came into Singapore. They reckon, I don't know who came up with these numbers, but 50,000 people came to Singapore just for Token. Yeah, so at least half the people who showed up didn't even go to Token. They were just there to participate in the side events and actually go and meet people. Yeah. And certainly from my point of view, that was where I found the most value, because you would go to those side events, and crypto is still a relatively small industry that whenever you went to a party, you knew a few people there, and those few people would introduce you to, these guys and these guys and these guys and whoever, right? So you end up Yeah, particularly from a sales point of view, if you took the view that I'm going to go and hit those side events with, an opportunity to really network, that's where you'd actually meet people. Because like you said, at the booth, every time someone come up to you, they're trying to sell you some software or some on off ramping solution, which is ironic because like that was our business.
Yeah.
I know you do a business, but would you like to do our business to do your business?
Yeah, that's right.
No. So it was there was a lot of polite. I felt like I spent a lot of time politely telling people that I wasn't interested.
Yeah, okay.
At the actual token event, but it was fun to get around and collect some merch and see all the bright lights and listen to some of the talks. Whereas the side events it was a genuine opportunity to do some business because people who do know you and do know what your business is about, they would then introduce you. Go, hey, you should be talking to these people because that's what you offer is exactly what they need. And I would say from that point of view, it was definitely the best token I've been to in terms of opportunity to connect with you businesses that we can work with. So, and that's the other thing, I guess, as well, is that everybody from around, at least particularly Asia, all come there. So it's a 1 week where you can get face-to-face with all the people you've seen online and, whatever. People, if not directly, through reputation. So it was very productive. It was a bit of fun mixed in as well.
Cool. Yeah. Anyway, I guess most people don't want to listen to us talk about token much longer. They want to hear about what happened on the weekend. No,
they want to hear about we will get to what happened on the weekend because we just experienced one of the craziest weekends in history with cascading liquidations, leverage positions of 29.3 billion. Now, that's according to Glasscoin. So, thanks for the mood lighting.
That was cool, actually.
Now, just to put that in perspective, that's an order of magnitudes larger than the 2.5 billion in liquidations that happened during the FTX collapse in 2022.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That is absolutely incredible. It just goes to show you how exponentially fast things are growing, that we have this like regular weekend dump and it's order of magnitudes larger.
Weekend dump. I wouldn't call this a regular weekend dump.
That's a Nick thing. Stay regular, Nick. High fiber diet will fix that problem. And staying out of leverage. Oh no, I've lost my sheet. Whatever. Got any comments there, Nick? While I subtly pick up my.
I'm going to kick that out of the way. Look, I would definitely not call this regular weekend dump. It was a weekend dump, which was kind of half the problem. There's a lot of accusations going out there that this was something orchestrated, and it's sort of hard to.
Some contention about that. There's some.
Oh really? You've got a counterpoint, do you?
I do, but I'm going to wait until
you can counterpoint me after I kind of explain the initial contention. I guess historically in traditional markets, weekends are always the weakest and lowest liquidity times to trade. Most markets will shut down completely. You can kind of do this after hours trading. But it's not really on market. You have to wait till the market's open and then everything gets matched and kind of trued up for whatever's happened, off market on the weekend. But in crypto, obviously that's not true, where it's a 24/7 kind of market. It's built for the future. It makes sense. It's run by computers. Why shut down at 5 p.m. on a Friday? It doesn't make sense. The fact that this happened on the weekend is always a little bit suspicious. There's other suspicious things like people, big anonymous whales placing shorts mere minutes before the actual crash happened, which is also very suspicious. But I guess, actually, before I go on, I'd love to hear your counterpoint.
Well, we'll get to it because it's actually discussed in one of the articles here.
Oh, okay.
So it might be worthwhile saving that point for a little bit of a thread later on. But first, some of the anatomy of the crash was that Donald Trump was at it again on the tweets.
Yeah.
And supposedly it came off the back of Donald Trump responding to China's rare earth export controls by threatening to resume tariff wars.
Yes.
Right? So a threat that he later walked back on. Yeah. So he's pretty wild. He's just like there going, lol.
Yeah.
Jokes. He should actually put that in his tweet, just like JK at the bottom. And anyway, I'm sure his family made loads of money out of it. So congrats to them.
I know, well played. This is a great meme where it's like him Donald Trump at a computer, although it's made by AI, so there's no mouse. It's just him on a keyboard, which is very unlikely. And Barron's kind of leaning over the thing, and he's like, "All right, I've placed the shorts, so send the tweet now, Dad." And it's the tweet about China. But this whole rare earth thing is kind of concerning me anyway. Like, China have kind of come out and said, look, their industry manufactures something like 93% of the heavy rare earth metals that are out there used for really important things like, you know, high temperature magnets and all this stuff that all this technology needs. And they're basically saying, yeah, look, we're gonna gatekeep all of these rare earth and heavy rare earth metals and who they can be sold to.
Yep. And
the market's like, what? What does this mean? Like, you know, does this mean I can't get an iPhone anymore? They basically put a stop to anything that's going to be used in defense, which is pretty interesting. So, you know, what does this mean for the general market? Like, are we about to enter into some kind of dark ages where, you know, we have to go back to our Nokia 3310s or whatever and
playing Snake all the time?
Yeah, exactly, and do calculations on an abacus. I don't know, but that was kind of interesting to me in terms of, you know, how do we get out of that hole? Well, apparently Australia's got some rare earths we can dig up, which is kind of cool. But yeah, it's going to take like a decade or something before we can actually get industry around that to make it, you know, a viable alternative. So yeah, it'd be pretty interesting times when China does this, and I think it's coming in December. Hopefully it doesn't mean too much, but yeah. So basically Trump reacted to that and said, "Whoa, what are you talking about? Okay, fine, I'm going to put tariffs on you," which is funny because it's like China are like, "We're not going to sell to you," and Trump's like, "Well, I'm going to charge anything you do sell to us twice as much," and China's like, "No, but we're not selling to you." So yeah, like Trump's like, "All right, 3 times." You know, it's who knows.
You can't come to my party. I'm not inviting you to my party.
yeah, exactly.
Some quality schoolyard antics. Although, talking of schoolyard antics, you said that nobody wanted to listen to us talk about Singapore.
Yeah.
But we also did dress up as wizards and go to an event. And we're the only ones that I'm sure if we shared some footage of you as a wizard, people would like to see that. Can I see a show of hands? No, like you can't because you're on the TV.
Yeah, that's a one-way thing. I'll show my hand. That's 1 from 1.
We have some wizard footage coming up, so people will be keen on that. Okay, so we'll keep going this. Okay, so here's the counterpoint. The counterpoint. So I can't pronounce that. The Kobayashi letter.
Oh yeah.
Anyway,
Go on.
The Kobayashi letter is arguing that the sell-off actually began an hour before Trump's post, suggesting that you know, when you look at it deeply, there was actually, you know, something to do with the oracles in Binance. So
but that's my point. My point is because it came before, that's where I'm suspicious, right? Because it's like if it happened after, it's like, okay, cool, it's just this macro event. But because it happened before, that's where all this conspiracy theories are coming out, that there was insiders who knew, i.e. everyone's, you know, lolling about Barron Trump, but truth could be stranger than fiction. Yeah, I think there is something there. I don't think, I think those two things can go in play. Yes, there's more to talk about, absolutely. This whole thing was one of the biggest things that's happened in crypto.
We'll run through a little bit about what, you know, oracles on Binance are for starters, because I'm sure that might.
Well, I'll take a step back and kind of explain why people are talking about these oracles, because what happened was basically there was a big price dip in crypto over the weekend. So I think Bitcoin went down 20%. Yeah, it was all red. Ethereum down something similar, but the real kicker was a bunch of altcoins were down like 60 to 80%.
There would have been super thin liquidity on some of that stuff, though.
Ridiculous. Yeah, yes, but still 80%. Like that's unheard of. Well, I mean, it's got to be one of the biggest.
Yeah, crazy.
And I think Atom, which is like a layer 1 token, was supposedly down 99.5%. But you know, there's some conjecture there about how accurate the pricing was. But anyway, it wasn't just that the prices dropped. So what happens in a market that has leverage in it, which is, you know, most sophisticated markets, where people borrow money to make a directional trade. If the price goes the other way to the direction that they thought it should go, then they become forced sellers. So let's assume in this case it was or like people were buying long positions, which means they were predicting that the price was going to go up. But when the price goes down, they become, if it goes down enough, they become forced sellers. And so when the price is going down, then suddenly you have all of this extra pressure of forced sellers from these leveraged traders who are getting what's called liquidated. And so then it just adds even more pressure and the price goes down further and you get these flash crashes, they're called, and liquidation events. Or in this case, it's a long squeeze is another way that people talk about it. Because the longs, the people who are betting Bitcoin's going to go up, are getting squeezed out of their position. So when this kind of stuff happens, prices get tested heavily. perpetual markets systems get tested heavily because the markets are sitting there going, okay, look, we've lent money to people. They've bought a token. The value of that token is now going down and rapidly approaching the value of, the money that we lent them.
Yep.
So they need to force people to get out of that position. But if the price is moving really fast, they can end up selling for a loss. So, And who loses there? Well, it's the platform that loses. It's not the customer, because the customer can't. The customer goes to $0. They've liquidated their account.
Now they're on the hook.
But the platform is suddenly in problem. So
yeah, a lot of people learnt to read probably the T's and C's a little bit closer, because some of these perps positions got closed out of them where they weren't expecting it for auto close and a bunch of stuff like that as well, right?
So we'll get into the auto close stuff, which is also really interesting. But what happened on Binance was basically when a perp system, a perpetual, like a leverage system, manages the positions of its customers, it basically has a look and goes, okay, what's the price? All right, this price is too low, I'm going to liquidate you. But on the Binance system, it basically was looking at pricing that wasn't realistic. So it was looking at, for example, wrapped, I think what was one of them? BN Sol. So that's a Binance. I think that's a Binance wrapped Sol, and they're looking at WBETH, which again is, I think, a wrapped Ethereum on Binance. These tokens, the BN Sol token, traded well under the actual price of Solana, which is kind of unfair, because at any point you can just unwrap the wrapped token and get the original, like get
value for it.
Yeah, the actual underlying asset for it. So it makes no sense to look at the markets for a wrapped token when the actual token is worth much more.
Yep.
And so that was kind of caused a bunch of extra liquidations, because people were getting liquidated on a price that was much lower than was fair.
Like an artificially low price,
which then dragged other markets down, and it just creates this like cascading liquidation kind of problem. And so what Binance...
The markets stop working efficiently. They're broken at that point.
Oh, totally broken. Like they're liquidating people when they shouldn't be liquidating, which is not a nice thing to do. So Binance have, to their credit, come back and said, okay, yeah, look, we're gonna. Actually, this is another interesting thing I just read before. So Binance, like 3 days ago, said, hey, for these three tokens, for these three perpetual markets, which was USDE, WBETH, and BN Sol. So these are the three ones that really felt this issue. They said, hey, we're going to change it so that we're not using the spot market for that wrapped ETH as the pricing. We're going to use the underlying asset, which is the right thing to do.
Yeah.
But they announced it way before the crash. I only learned this recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so they announced it, and then this whole thing happened. And those three tokens that they announced they were going to fix the pricing for got wrecked, and everyone got wrecked, and people got liquidated when they shouldn't have been, and it dragged the whole market down, and people were crying about depeggings of stable coins and all this kind of stuff. So I thought that was quite interesting that they actually announced it, and now there's more conspiracy theories here, right, where people are saying, well, hang on, they announced it, and then what, did someone kind of look for the weakness and then test it somehow? Who knows? But basically, so they're going to fix that. So that Oracle thing should be fixed. Or at least I think it's getting fixed. It was on the 14th. Yes, today. Should be getting fixed today.
And Binance paid out 280 odd million in...
Yeah, 283 mil from their like SAFU fund or whatever it is, just to say to all those people who got liquidated when they shouldn't have been, which is the right thing to do. But it's funny, like everyone's yelling about how Athena, the USDE stablecoin, depegged, but like the Athena guys are like, no, it didn't. Our biggest market by far is on Curve. There was no depegging there. It was just on Binance when everything was going wrong. You couldn't do withdrawals. You couldn't the arbitragers couldn't get their funds in to make bank on this and prop the price up again. Just nothing was working on Binance. It was a whole thing. I don't mean to like shit on our competitors, but everyone is like, there's a lot of eyes on Binance at the moment for this kind of stuff.
Interesting. Very interesting. Is there anything more to watch in that space? Or?
The only other point I did want to bring up about this one is the kind of, why was it, such a crazy liquidation, like cascading liquidation? Why was there, there's $20 billion of cascading liquidations happening over this period? And people are actually saying there's probably way more. There's probably like 25, 30 billion maybe in total, because there's like Binance, for example, and we'll talk about Binance again. They only announce one liquidation per second, or there's some metric where they kind of throttle the announcements of liquidations, and so the data we have is not actually real. We know it's at least 20 bill, but we don't know what it actually is, and it's probably a bit more. But the reason why we have all of this built up open interest, all of this leverage in the system, is kind of what we've been talking about previously with the, how Hyperliquid and Asta and all that kind of stuff has really been catching a lot of the headlines recently. These systems are purpose-built, leveraged trading platforms, right? They're right now the current meter is these decentralized perpetual systems where you can, trade with leverage on a system that, that isn't centralized like a Binance or independent reserve or whatever. And so, and kind of because of that, that's why everyone's just been like, oh, that's cool. And people have never even heard of perpetuals or don't know what they're doing.
Now
I've seen they're piling on. They can do it, in a DeFi manner where they don't have to sign up and don't have to prove that they're, that they're sophisticated. And so that's why this huge amount of leverage is built up. And this is something we've kind of noticed on our, we Independent Reserve offers leverage trading as well. And something we've noticed is that when we offer, since we've offered leverage trading, there's always more longs than shorts. And from my perspective, I think the idea of a long makes sense to people. Like, it's simple to understand. You're just borrowing a bit of extra money to buy. But the concept behind a short, it's a bit more difficult to understand. The barrier to entry, if you want to try and make sure you know what you're doing before you open up a position, is higher. And so we just don't get as many shorts. And so in this scenario where the price went down, there was just so much more open interest because so many people are betting on this thing using these, decentralized exchanges. And Hyperliquid was, I think, the biggest liquidator of all of them. In fact, to the point where I think the crypto.com guy called them out and was like, hey, we need to regulate this and someone should look into making sure they're doing the right thing. I was like, well, that's all on chain. So hopefully you can actually look into that stuff. But
fascinating.
I think it's just because of this Hyperliquid, this decentralized perpetuals meter that we're going through, it really pumped up that amount of leverage in the system, which just, the higher the high, the greater the fall kind of thing.
Yeah, leverage. I mean, leverage is such a two-edged sword, and I really don't think people fully appreciate the risks of doing that. Which is why obviously there's generally a lot of regulation around how you can have this kind of leverage. Now there was an exchange. I'd never heard of this exchange before, but they were black and gold. Wasn't Binance, and they had lots of whale imagery, right? I can't remember, Wix or something. Anyway,
yes,
they offered, and this is incredible, 400x leverage. 400x. Fact check that one. They definitely added it there. It was there.
I tell you because Asta has 1,001x.
It is incredible.
Are you kidding me?
And you could just imagine, right? And this is, we saw this happen back when I was working in TradFi through the GFC, for example. There was a bunch of people I knew who just discovered, because of the volatility, they discovered CFD trading, for example.
Right.
And they didn't know to the extent to which they were leveraged. But if on a good day, if you start, and this is what happens, on the first couple of days, maybe you take a long leverage bet because the market's going up and you win. Just the natural reaction is to go, I'm a genius.
Yeah.
I can leverage the absolute heck out of this thing and I'm going to be retired in 3 days. But of course, it goes the wrong way and all of a sudden you're wiped out in a second, right?
Yeah, totally.
And then the natural human instinct is to kind of go, oh, no, wait, I'm not an idiot yet. I'm still a genius because I nailed it the first time. And all of a sudden, the second or third time, double up your bets until you wiped out. And people have really, really, really hurt themselves with this by not understanding the risk they're taking on now. 400x or even 1,000x.
Yeah. And I don't understand how it works because you'd put a bet down. If the price went down by 0.5 cent, you liquidate it.
It's crazy.
You've got no room to move. You've got to be doing it in a rising market and just get lucky. It's just silly stuff.
Silly stuff. All right.
But it reminds me actually, Token, the booth next to us, and again, I think they were called Exchange On or something.
X or something. They had that Reebok looking
sign. Like black and green. And they had a thing on the top of their thing that said trade futures with no liquidations. I'm like, what?
What? That can't be right.
How do you... Yeah, that's like, what, are you going to bankroll us when we lose? When we lose, not if. When. Anyway, I didn't investigate that one too hard, but I did pique my interest. Anyway.
Oh. Hey, Jared, did you any luck on the wizard stuff?
I only got the screen to work with.
Oh no, looks like everyone's gonna have to wait for the wizard outfits. We got so excited about going to Token and getting dressed up as wizards to find out, and we thought we didn't go hard enough on the costumes.
Yes.
Thought we didn't go hard enough with the outfits, the 100% plastic outfit in the Singapore heat that we committed ourselves to, only to find out we're the only ones who showed up in costume.
Yeah. Let me just try. I've got a video here. See if I can... Jared, if I send you a video, does that...
Yeah,
Would you be able to do that?
We'll load it up later on.
All right, let me do that. Right
Now, the polyester and nylon blend in the sweaty Singaporean heat is not recommended for anyone who doesn't like sweating. If you like sweating, it's you do it, you love it. But if you don't, oh, here we go. We're bad.
I sent a video as well. It's even better.
Anyway, we'll keep going with the news while we're doing it. Right, the next one we have is the ETH v Sol maxis are at it again. So the ETH let's do that again. ETH v Sol maxis are at it again. Ethereum versus Solana maxis have been battling it out online. Apparently, I don't know. I guess arguing with each other about which one, claims and counterclaims about which network fared better during this flash crash. But it's a bit like Tweedledee and Tweedledee fighting over the I don't know if the battle lines here are properly drawn, but both networks are claiming that they stayed online and both fared better. Ethereum ecosystems apparently reached a combined new peak of 2,835 transactions per second. Although mainnet topped itself out at like 26 per second or something. Anyway, so the Solana guys, they're fighting back. They're saying, well, our system ingested 100,000 transactions per second during the peak of the flash crash. But the actual TPS measured was closer to 2,500, so pretty similar to that of Ethereum at any rate. Do you want to weigh in on this? You are. I know you're an ETH maxi, but try and be balanced.
Look, I totally agree with your initial assessment. This is a bunch of guys. I had no idea they were even arguing until I had a look at this. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a bunch of tweets of people who are just going to be. They're not even going to be footnotes in history. Like, get over it, guys. And why can't you both win? Is my sort of feeling on this whole thing. And in the end, 2,800 versus 2,500, close enough. It appeared, at reasonable sort of estimates that Solana was cheaper than Ethereum. But again, I'm sure Ethereum's going to come out with a new thing that makes them cheaper, and then Solana will do the same thing. Like, they seem basically the same at the moment. I'm taking a very broad view here. I know I'm probably going to upset some people who have a strong opinion on it. But I don't know. Like, if I guess my overarching view is if Solana's doing this almost the same as what Ethereum is, but they're doing it on the layer one, and Ethereum is kind of fragmented, and it's not really doing any of that on the layer one. It's doing 99% of that on layer twos and multiple layer twos, not just one. So, for example, Ethereum's it's basically all on Arbitrum and Base is where the activity is happening.
There's so much happening on Base. I was looking into Base actually.
Arbitrum's actually higher. So Arbitrum was doing 1,500 transactions per second. Really? Base is doing 1,100 about, and kind of and what does that equal? 2,600. So then there's 200 or 300 transactions per second filtered between the layer one and other layer twos, which is kind of nominal. But I mean, if Solana's doing all of basically the same on the layer one, to me that suggests that kind of is a better solution. It's more integrated. It's less fragmented. I don't know. Ethereum, is very well aware of its fragmentation problem, and they're doing a bunch of stuff to try and solve it. Can they do it in time? Who knows? I honestly think they'll both end up being. I don't think there's going to be one clear winner. At this stage, it looks like they can both coexist, and they both be fighting for to be the future of France and whatever. But
future of France.
Yeah, but maybe they'll. Maybe why can't we have both?
Well, can we have both? Yeah. I think the world's big enough for Pepsi and Coca-Cola. Same but different.
Yeah, exactly.
Are we live? We're gonna have to check this out. Hey, here we go.
All right, see if you can pick who's who. Obviously, Lee and I aren't the two people on the left, but maybe.
Yeah, now it's on. Who's who? I don't know.
So I magically caught it on my arm.
Yeah.
That was fun for those who are unsure what the hell they're watching. We went to a Taproot Wizards party. Taproot Wizards are like this Bitcoin NFT thing, which looks like a bunch of fun. They do parties all over the place at various conferences, and I've had I've seen stuff on Twitter before, and I'm like, you always see these like photos of the events, and everyone's dressed up in wizard outfits. I'm like, oh, that could be cool. Mentioned it to Lee before we went. He's like, let's do it. So we bought some wizard outfits, and ended up being I think, like, to be fair, of the 100 people that were there were 4 wizards. And the other 2 that weren't you and I were like, half-assed. Like one guy had like a sort of a robe on and that was it. And another guy had like a cloak on. I'm like, okay.
You gave it a crack.
Yeah, you gave it a crack. But no one went. No one was in full incognito like us. Like, people didn't know who we were.
I've still got the outfit. I'm gonna bust out again. I'm looking. To be honest, I'm gonna look for another excuse to wear it.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we'll find the next Taproot Wizards party. We'll be like the groupies that travel around and.
Yeah, I'm just going to check the humidity barometer. just check the barometer first.
Well, you wore long pants to that. That was like a
silly.
cell phone, right?
Yeah, it was silly. Yeah, I learnt that. It still wasn't as hot though. Actually, speaking of hot events to Token, we were in Dubai this year as well for Token, and that was genuinely hot. Lessons learned. But we ended up with like Dubai. It's in the desert. It's hot.
Yeah.
Go figure. And we, for some reason, had the booth outside. In the desert.
That's a cheaper option. We thought we were saving money. 3 people died.
Like I've never complained about never had complained about having a HR issue, but having to stand out in the heat in 50 degrees was close to me raising a complaint with HR.
Close. You were
Just
so
didn't.
angry.
Well, our HR manager wouldn't have cared anyway. But I almost complained, genuinely complained. Well, actually, so the funny thing was, it's not funny. I almost died. But like we had it outside and they had fans and they had, if you were in front of the fan, it was fine. But literally, if the fan was here, you're standing there, too hot.
Yeah, right.
Right?
It's like you're in hell.
Okay, ready? Hot as Hades. No, it's blue. What? Come on, Jared. Oh no, it's nice and cool now.
Yeah,
Oh look,
right, you
what a
must be in
lovely.
front of the fan.
Oh, there you are.
Fan's moved.
Oh, no fan. You die. Oh, okay, good. Anyway, so that's now you got a visualization of what it was like.
Yeah.
No one came out to visit us.
I was just wondering, do you know why we haven't monetized our YouTube channel yet? Oh, it's because of this nonsense. That's right. Yeah, okay.
So close.
Yeah.
So close. People only come here for the hard-hitting analysis. So the next day, and I don't know what happened because I was the chump that stayed there the
Because
entire
you had
afternoon.
heat stroke.
No,
but
I wore
yeah.
pants again, like an idiot.
What?
Yeah, wore pants the whole day. So I was like, let's be professional. Let's stand in the heat in our pants.
Is it because you don't own shorts because your legs are so short and your torso is so long that even shorts are pants for you? Is that what?
Correct. There's not a pair of shorts that are short enough for my legs. And then people were like, oh, I've got to, halfway through the day, everyone's like, oh, I've just got to go have a meeting inside somewhere.
Right.
Or like people
You're
like,
good here, Lee, on your own, right?
You got this right. And
Just
so I
turn the fan off.
so I stayed there the whole afternoon by myself. And the next day I said, sorry, guys, I'm not even coming to the booth tomorrow.
Yeah.
I'm going to stay at home and enjoy, just like uncramp my
Just a
legs.
shrunken head.
Yeah. I was, I couldn't, it was horrendous. Anyway, so, stay cool out there. Next news. We've digressed. That never happens.
Yeah.
First time ever. All right, Bitmine. Tom Lee is not quitting. Bitmine buys the dips and Strategy buys the peak. Close enough. So Tom Lee's Bitmine, so we know they are huge ETH bulls, took the opportunity to buy the dip. So they were not stopping. So with the company announcing that it now owns greater than 2.5% of the entire Ethereum supply, with just over 3 million ETH, that's only halfway to their goal of amassing 5%, which is insane.
But it seems like they've got there pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Like,
really
I feel like
quickly.
it's like, in another 3 months' time, they'll if they don't stop, they're going to own all of ETH accidentally. Yeah, they'll slip and click buy.
Duh.
And, yeah. Whoops.
We own it all. So I guess they are pretty happy with the crypto liquidations. So over the past few days, that created a huge opportunity. So they acquired at 202,000 ETH over the last few days. So they're loving the dip.
So much.
Michael Saylor, who famously buys the top forever, bought 220 Bitcoin just before the dip.
Yeah, so he did it again. Like, and I don't know if he did it. Maybe he's like Trump is whispering to him, going, "I'm about to crash the market." And he's like, "Oh, better get my buy-in," just before it crashes, because he, I guess he's definitely not, not market manipulating and whatever. Come on, man.
So I'm still suffering the effects of like standing in the desert. Like I've lost motor function.
I was like, how long ago was that?
6 months.
Anyway, yeah. So Saylor bought, like, I think it was about 16 hours before the price started going down, and literally where he bought that was the Pico top, and
No
then
way.
it was down only since then.
He doesn't care though.
No, and he doesn't care. And to be honest, like, the cynic in me kind of says this is a good thing. I don't want him owning so much Bitcoin. He owns too much Bitcoin. Like he needs to just stop. Obviously, he's not going to stop, but yeah, I'm happy when he buys the top and doesn't actually slope up the dip and, buy 20% more Bitcoin than he could have. But interestingly, even though he bought the top, MSTR share price is up like 2.5%. So people are like, wow, this guy doesn't care.
People love commitment.
Yeah,
gotta
and
commit to
he's
things.
he's definitely committing. Very, very consistent.
Yep. Whether you're committing to pants in the desert or billions of dollars worth of Bitcoin, you just got to go for it.
Yeah, that's your thing now. You can't wear shorts in hot environments. Only in cold environments.
Only in cold
Actually,
environments.
which you did.
Oh, can we? Why am I asking for someone's permission to digress? The other thing that happened at Token that people, I'm sure, are super keen to hear about is we stopped by. Oh, actually, the other thing about Token. Did I mention that we went to Token? They had a bunch of stuff that was not crypto related, which Adrian made an interesting point going, like before it always been 100% crypto, but now there's a bunch of businesses that was like watchmakers and like, you know what I mean?
I saw a bunch of golf stands.
Like people who
AI
were just
chess.
AI chess.
Yeah.
There was, and the biohacking section that we stopped into. So they had a hyperbaric chamber. They had that red hot sunbed thing, which was just kind of weird. And then they had that cryogenic freezer where you'd sit in there for 2 minutes or whatever?
2 minutes, yeah.
2 minutes, and it got down to like minus 100 degrees centigrade.
Yeah. It was
Crazy.
Yeah. And were you in shorts or long pants in that one?
No, it was freezing, so of course I wore shorts.
Yeah, that's the rule.
That's the rule.
Yeah.
And I waited to get in that hot thing, and then I put my pants on to get in there.
That's true. Yeah, that was kind of interesting. And really sort of crypto adjacent for sure. I think of all of them, that was probably the closest to crypto. Because at least on
Hyperbaric chamber or the
like the
cryogenic?
longevity kind of idea. A lot of people in crypto are talking about that.
Yeah,
It's apparently the current wealth indicator. It's not about what car you have or what you buy or wear. It's about what your longevity routine is.
Right.
And that's showing like I'm doing this stem cell stuff or this kind of blah 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 or hyper
what's his name? The dude who was like Brian Johnson. He was there. He was one of the presenters. So there was a time. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw his name there. He was coming in to talk about longevity, which this is a classic Adrian side point. So when we're talking about that cryogenic experience, so there was a company that their business, remember, was to, well, I haven't explained it to you yet, so you probably don't remember.
I don't remember.
But there was a business, I have to say was because it's no longer, that basically you went to them and said, hey, when I die, can you cryogenically freeze me and keep me in cold storage until a time at which you can reanimate me because the technology has changed. But the business went out. They ran out of business, and they had to close. So, well, what do you do with your frozen bodies? What do you do? Well, it's pretty obvious. You turn the switch off.
Yeah.
Because no one's paying for the power bill anymore. Because I imagine it costs a lot of money to freeze those bodies. This is a random fact. It's kind of gruesome. So shut your ears if you're not cringy. What's the word I'm looking for? Queasy. So if you unfreeze a body, what do you think happens to the body?
Dies.
No, it's already dead. It's already dead. When you unfreeze a cryogenically frozen body.
You've actually told me this story. Did you want me to answer? Or
Yes.
It turns into like sludge?
Yeah,
Is that right?
it turns into sludge. It doesn't just thaw out like a loaf of bread. It just melts.
Yeah.
The water crystallizes.
Oh, yeah, because the water crystal.
But it's
Everything's-
just like rotten. Yeah, it just rots and...
Which begs the question, like, how would you reanimate a frozen body at any rate if it's just like once all the frozen water, like...
Yeah.
Well, they're counting on being able to figure that out later.
Oh. So
Well,
just
maybe that's what you exist as now. You exist as a liquid in a jar.
Like pour them back in like a human-sized mold.
Yeah.
Like how you do with jelly.
Couldn't you just-
And then
surely it'd
just
be better
warm it
just to
up a
make
bit,
make a new body for you, or work out the transhumanism thing. I guess is how do you get your AI?
I guess a lot of people are banking on the singularity, and we can just upload to the cloud or whatever.
Oh, which reminds me of another point. There's a movie called Mountainhead, I believe. I think I told you about this. And
Yes.
Well, anyway, I watched it on the flight over there. Look, anyone who's interested in, it's actually got nothing to do with transhumanism, but it's got. I don't even know where are we going with this. That's why our viewers not going up, Nick. I can't work it out. I'll come back to Mountainhead. Anyway, Mountainhead, go check it out. I won't give you any more context. Just trust me on this one.
Yeah.
You'll like it.
Yeah. Okay. Anyway, but let's rewind before Divergence. Where were we talking about?
let's start with a new article.
Okay, sure.
Let's just get
move
going.
on.
All right. So the next one we had to talk about was the checks notes. Crypto market structure bill looks further away than ever. So this has got to do with what's happening in the US. So the Democrats, which we thought were on board now with doing crypto, are still just like, you know what, we just don't like it. We don't know why we don't like it, but we don't like it. So what's going on here? The Democrats on the Senate banking committee have sent a counter proposal for a crypto market structure bill to the Republicans. But critics are not a fan. They're saying that the Democrats' proposal would effectively kill DeFi by stripping protections from core developers and imposing KYC rules on front ends for crypto dApps, including non-custodial wallets. So this is kind of interesting. So I guess what they're really sort of saying is that effectively, if Treasury comes out and puts together a restricted list and says, no, this protocol or whatever is just deemed too risky, they're effectively just going to, they're just effectively going to kill stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, reading into this thing, this counter proposal has been leaked, so it's not sort of an official thing, which kind of makes me a little bit like, let's take it with a grain of salt. But yeah, it is like the idea is kind of pretty annoying. We kind of just got over that whole Tornado Cash getting blacklisted in the de facto fact lists or whatever. That's basically what it's proposing. Those, the Treasury is going to be able to have this veto power to add anyone they want onto this blacklist. They want to try and KYC DeFi front ends. That's just like that's dead, right? Like, I mean, it's not dead. It won't happen because anyone who is affected by that rule just won't exist. Like you can't like no one's going to use your platform if you're trying to be decentralized with KYC.
Yeah,
no one's going to use it. Everyone's just going to go somewhere else. And so then, the consequence of this is that all of this onshoring of the crypto, industry and infrastructure, is just going to go offshore again, and it's going to be pretty damaging because we've been, it's very emotional. It's a very emotional rollercoaster we've been on since before Trump started, with the Biden administration being famously very anti-crypto and DeFi and all that kind of stuff, and they kind of toyed with us with this idea as well pre-Trump. And then Trump came, and it was like, everyone's like, oh, thank God he's pro crypto, so we're not gonna have to worry about those kind of rules. But now they're getting proposed again. I don't think it's necessarily going to come in. I don't think it's we don't have to like decide it's all over. But what it probably does mean is that this bill, this market structure bill that they're proposing, that looked pretty cool, looked pretty good, looked like it was pretty reasonable, is not going to get done basically. Anytime soon. Like maybe this counter proposal comes in, and then the Republicans go, oh, okay, well, how about we do this and this instead? And there'll be somewhere in the middle that it lands, and it might be okay. I don't know. I have no idea where it will land, but that kind of process takes time. So we're not going to see this thing getting passed anytime soon.
Back to square one. Why do we still can't work out why the Democrats hate it so much? Like, what lobby group or what interest group behind them is trying
It's
so
just
hard to kill?
Elizabeth Warren running around screaming, "Won't someone think of the children?" Basically.
Yeah, what's her beef?
Or is it this their opposition? I mean, they have to.
This is the whole thing about nothing can be bipartisan anymore. Everyone has to take the exact and equal opposite of the position of their opponent. It's a sad state to be in. And we thought we were kind of there. Like, the Clarity Bill got through. What was the other one called? Stable build. Bill, like these, they got through with this bipartisan support. Everyone's like, cool, this, crypto structure, the market structure bill has got a good chance. But now that bipartisan kind of support has just dissipated, and here we are, which is a shame. But I mean, to be honest, I honestly think we should be thankful for what we have.
Well, back closer to home, we had in the last 2 weeks, we also had some great news. So I think last time someone asked me a question was saying, well, look, when are we going to see regulation in Australia? And I was like, never. But crazily enough, we saw some really big movements in Australia, with Treasury coming out with their paper, which talked about how it's not legislation yet, but sort of talking about the framework for how they're going to provide, regulatory oversight, which was not ironic, but like interesting in that the industry had always been saying, we're happy to regulate at, say, the exchange level, right? And, make sure that there's adequate, protections and standards in place for how exchanges operate. So you can, protect consumer protection, all that kind of stuff. And then there'd been nothing had happened. They gone away and said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to look at regulating the token level, blah, 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 blah. Big full circle, umpteen years later. And they're like, okay, yeah, we'll regulate the exchange level. Oh, this is what we asked for like years ago.
Yeah.
And now you've kind of come back to be like, yeah, we'll just do what you asked for at the beginning.
But it's still,
but
as you say, like there's still a long battle ahead kind of thing.
It's closer than we've ever been to actually have, Treasury come out and outline this kind of like, approach. But also as well, we saw, for example, some developments in the Australian, because stablecoins is undoubtedly the big issue, right? And how many people at Token come up to you and said, oh, do you want to use our like on-ramp and off-ramping with our some crappy stablecoin? You're like, no, I don't want to use you. Go away. But you have to do it politely. But not the same. I mean, all the same. Like there's so much happening. And so the next article we needed to talk about is the global banks may issue a G7 stablecoin, which is again huge news. But again, sort of wrapping up on what's closer to home. So ASIC provided a relief letter to two Aussie Australian projects, AUDM and AUDF, basically saying we'll give you relief. Okay, maybe it is a financial product or security, whatever they call it. But in this particular case here, we'll give them relief, so it allows exchanges to offer it. Listed on the exchanges without sort of necessarily needing a market license, which is a huge development for the Australian stablecoin coin scene. Huge, absolutely huge. I don't think it caught a lot of headlines, but certainly in the Australian crypto world, it'll be fascinating to see. I mean, I'm talking to the guys from Macropod who are issuing the AUDM stablecoin. It's fascinating. It'll be really. We're going to be closely involved and talk to the guys and all that kind of stuff, and it'll be fascinating to see how that project takes shape over the next few years and the uptake of them using an Australian dollar stablecoin and how it gets used in the ecosystem. Super excited to see how that pans out. But anyway, if we go back up, just the other thing to keep in mind, I guess, for the big, even broader speaking, was there's a bunch of global banks, including Goldman Sachs, Deutsche Bank, Citigroup, are teaming up to develop a blockchain-based digital asset based on G7 currencies, which is massive. So it's an early stage project and exploring whether there is value for the banks to issue a stablecoin based on these real-world currencies, effectively, modernizing, I guess, potentially modernizing, hugely modernizing how payments work across those currencies.
Yeah, and I think there's a long way to go with these ones as well. They're kind of in the exploratory phase. I'd love to know more details. Like, is it going to be like a basket of currencies, or are they each going to issue their own one?
Don't know.
The only interesting thing I saw on this one, or the main interesting thing I saw, was that they're looking to issue it on a public blockchain. So it's kind of, a lot of these banks talk about, or even like, the CBDC style thing, like, governments, I suppose, talk about issuing stable coins on a private blockchain, which is not very interesting to me because that's just like they're just modernizing their existing tech. But doing it on public blockchain, that becomes interesting for me because they're like, okay, we're going to use the rails that exist and sort of tap into the existing financial tools and instruments that exist on the blockchain, which is pretty cool. It doesn't mean that they can't still control the currency. You can write a smart contract that allows you to shut down accounts and block transfers and whatever. You can do whatever you want. We're getting a question here. Does it have privacy concerns? I mean, if they're writing their own contract, like their own smart contract and building their own token, they can kind of do what they want. Blockchains itself is open and anyone can see what happens, like on a public blockchain. So that immediately reduces your privacy, I suppose. But in the end, if you're able to use it from a decentralized wallet, like a non-custodial wallet, then it can be pretty private, I suppose. It's like becomes pseudo-anonymous, where they can see accounts that send it, but they don't know who is controlling those accounts. If you know what I mean.
Interesting.
But I don't know. We'll see how this one plays out. We've been hearing a lot of talk about stable coins and governments and banks and stuff, and I haven't really seen anything, materialize. But I'm keen to see what happens. But I guess I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Yeah.
Well, it's just this again. It's like we always talk about. It's the tendency towards, normalization, and it's going to be at some point like. Crypto's always been kind of fun, right? People are building these cool apps and people come for the tech and they go, oh, this is awesome. You can have this kind of like, there's always this slightly sort of rebellious aspect to it.
A wizard? Yeah.
Yeah. I can dress up as a wizard and go to a professional event.
Yeah.
Yeah. To talk about my NFTs and community and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that's the fun part of crypto, right? Yeah. Like you can build a community around some artwork, all this kind of stuff. And it brings people, like the communities it builds on one of the most fascinating things to me just about digital assets in general had always been like the community aspect, like all these meme coin communities that pop up, or the NFT communities that have popped up around these random things. It's kind of like you've always got to get, when you see them and you meet them and the people, you go like these events and like all these people are bound over these like, digital wizards. I've always found that fascinating, and it's a really fun aspect to it.
It's a subculture for sure.
It's a subculture for sure, and I think that's why a lot of people enjoy it. But this is, what it was actually built for. It's kind of boring. It's kind of like not very much fun to go, oh, well, now Goldman Sachs is doing it. Okay, great. Yeah, enjoy that. Put on a suit and go and talk about payments. But do you know what I mean?
I agree.
It is actually what this is actually the kind of the reality of what it had to become.
Yes, and I think this is sort of a classic case of where people, doesn't matter what it is, if it makes things cheaper, then they're going to use it. Right? People will go to the best tech eventually, hopefully, especially in a world where it doesn't cost so much to change. So the obvious counterpoint to that is the VHS versus Betamax kind of thing that happened 30 years ago or whenever, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And Betamax was the better technology, but everyone, VHS just had a better marketing team or something, and so everyone ended up using it. But I don't think I feel like there's enough like in the world of social media and whatnot, the marketing teams are less important, and it's a lot about the Coles. Sorry, marketing guys. No, you still
Marketing
have a
team
place.
sad.
Yeah, but it's more about how what is the person you believe saying is the right thing to do, and does it make sense?
Yeah.
And so that's why these banks are going, what, we should try this stuff out because it is cheaper. Can we make it work for us? The reason why I'm asking is it a good thing is really honestly because I'm sort of thinking, does it pump my bags? And
you've got to have some self-interest.
Yeah,
Makes the world
exactly.
go round.
And
Are you asking me?
yeah, does it pump my bags, Lee? What are my bags? What bags do I have? Do I have bags? Yeah. So I don't know the answer to that, but I think in the absence of answering that one, then is it good for privacy? Is it good for liberty? Is it good for is it a good thing? Is it net good for humanity? I don't know. I don't know yet. So that's kind of why I'm on the fence. I don't know. I want to see how this plays out. What does it mean for the average Joe?
You'll still be able to go to NFT catch-ups in a wizard costume. So does it really affect your liberties so much? I mean, that's what your heart desires, isn't it?
It could, because if I want to buy bread and I have to use Citibank's stablecoin, and I'm like, and they're like, no, what? You're buying the wrong type of bread, and they deny my transaction. Yeah. That's where I get angry, all right? And I try and cast a spell on them.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like with the technology, people probably realize that it is more efficient, but it's actually it has the potential to have so much more control over what you do.
Yeah.
Right. And you see this debate quite frequently with cash, for example. Now, Jared's got some mate, he's like, oh, he reckons that cash is the best thing going around. It's like, well, you could argue that cash at least is a sovereign form of wealth as long as you control it, right?
Asset.
It's a bearer asset, which makes things like, if you take that agreement, then Bitcoin is also an even better version, right?
Theoretically.
But like I said, a lot of people still find the volatility hard to stomach. So they look for things like stablecoins, not realizing those stablecoins could be, it's not a Trojan horse. But the term you're looking for, it could be, people could go, oh, this is nice and safe and it's nice, whatever. But it's actually, you're walking into a trap.
No, I agree. I think Trojan horse is a perfect example. You kind of lure them with one thing, but then you're like, aha.
Bait and switch.
Yeah. Bait and switch. Yeah.
All of a sudden you're into, whoever controls those coins control your financial, freedom. Which is a scary thought.
This is a big doomer kind of situation. We're not seeing any of this for any of those watching.
No, but we're allowed to speculate, Nick. We're allowed to speculate.
It does. It is something I always think about when these large, government or government adjacent organisations kind of start dipping their toes in. I'm like, what's the catch?
Can they control your money when you're wearing your tinfoil hat, Nick?
Yeah. Yeah, because what happened? I put some sunscreen on and now I've got 5G inside my body or something, and they can. Yeah, I don't quite.
Yeah. Stay indoors. Avoid those chemtrails.
Yeah.
All right. Well, actually, so Michael Saylor has a bit of competition. So sovereign wealth funds are buying Bitcoin. So the economic powerhouse of Luxembourg, I pronounced that correctly. The sovereign wealth fund has become the first European nation to invest into Bitcoin. So some of its wealth, some of its, I guess here it's only a tiny amount. So they've invested about $9 million, which is about 1% of their entire portfolio into Bitcoin. And they haven't actually bought Bitcoin directly, they bought ETFs. So it's not a huge amount, but it is, again, an interesting thing that is now safe for sovereign funds to buy.
Yep. They've got 650,000 residents, Luxembourg. So if we extrapolate, each resident now owns 9/6.5 Bitcoin, like dollars worth of Bitcoin. That's not bad.
Better than zero.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, better than Australia, that's for sure.
Yeah. Zero. It's the last article. Because if it's the last article,
That's two more.
we've got 2 more to go. Right. So back to Singapore. So the MAS, the Monetary Authority of Singapore, has deferred new crypto prudential standards by 1 year to the start of 2027. So MAS has said that it's delaying the rules following concerns raised by the industry that the risk classifications would unfairly penalise assets on permissionless blockchains by forcing banks to hold capital buffers of up to 1,250% for assets deemed riskiest. I don't even know what that means. I just read it off screen.
Yeah, it's
Explain it to me like I didn't read it, because that was a mouthful and I'm not sure I even processed it.
Yeah, look, for me, the broad strokes of this one is that the MAS are kind of backing away due to industry pushback, which I think, like, at a high level, that's a good thing, right? They're listening to their constituents and saying, okay, this is, we're getting some pushback here. Let's not rush into something. Let's give it a bit more time.
That's good. But that's how it ought to be, right?
100%, 100%. And I just feel like, we're expecting, we're like cheering for the status quo, which is kind of a sad state of affairs. But I'm glad they're doing it. I think it sounds pretty good. I mean, demanding someone holds 1,250% is a big number. But if it's the riskiest asset, I'm assuming this is like cherry picking the biggest, like like holding Atom. Imagine they held Atom that went down by 99.5%, and we're demanding they hold 1,200. Like, that seems fair to me.
Yeah.
I'd want, you'd want them to hold be way over collateralized for some crappy thing like that. But I'd be interested to see what the number is for Bitcoin, for example. What is it? Just 0% off 10% or whatever, like what over what they are required to hold. That seems less unreasonable to me. I don't know if this is a bit of fear mongering or if people are just like, this is ridiculous. It should be 1-to-1, full reserve, blah, blah, blah. It doesn't need to be anything more.
Over collateralized or whatever.
Having said that, like, if they're not, if someone's storing fart coin with the bank, and then like the bank, I don't see why the bank should own more than 1-for-1 fart coin, because they're not, unless the bank are then sitting there and trying to play funny games with the money and rehypothecate and do all that stuff. But if they're not, if they're just holding it, I don't know. Yeah, again, I don't know enough about this, but I do like the overall sort of, there was pushback, so they're like, all right, cool, let's think about it a bit longer.
No, it's sensible. I mean, I like that. It's nice when the people can push back and the government goes, you know what, we've made a mistake of this. We're here for the people. Yeah. So well done, MAS.
Yeah, nice one.
Sorry. Apart from good memories, I also picked up a sinus infection in Singapore. So sorry if you can't hear me or I'm all choked up. Yeah. So did Shane, one of our colleagues. Yeah. So something was getting around. Just.
What did you guys do that I didn't do?
That's a good question.
Sinus infection.
Well, I wasn't having a good time because you had that.
Yeah.
After that, I'm fresh out of ideas.
Yeah. Okay. You did lose your voice pretty heavily, and if you watch some of the other the Singapore what is it called, token videos that we've got out there, you'll hear Lee's voice popping like a 14-year-old going through puberty. But,
yeah, I know. It lasted for a week. It was hilarious.
Yeah.
I used to. It's funny because when I was, I think I told you the story. There was a boy I used to pick on in high school. I'm ashamed to admit it, but for that exact same reason.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't just me, so it's all right.
Leave me alone, Lee.
Yeah. Was it because you hadn't gone through puberty yet, and this poor guy was going through it before you? He's actually more of a man than you were.
Yeah, well, luckily he was too young to understand irony.
Okay, so
I can't remember. I don't know how much I picked on him for it, but I definitely remember picking on him for it. Well, at least maybe in my mind I was I was laughing along with him.
okay.
If you're out there, let
while
me
he
know.
wiped away the tears.
Oh man, I'm paying for it now. All right, so we've got a plug for something that's coming up tomorrow. So we have a webinar coming up tomorrow. So shameless plug. Tim Tyndale from the Australian sales team will be doing a webinar tomorrow with David Pham, about what structure is best for crypto. So if you're thinking about trading crypto, which I probably are because you're here, you didn't come here just because you're a wizard enthusiast, then you'd probably be interested in doing this. So it'll cover off things like on structure, what structure you just use for your Bitcoining or your DeFiing. And so I guess they'll talk about companies for active trading, trust for tax flexibility, all this kind of stuff. We don't give tax advice or anything like that, but this will be a very interesting update to get all your factual information about how it all works, and listen to David. And if you need any tax advice or any financial advice, make sure you go and speak to your qualified professional, because we are not.
So for people who maybe can't make this, will there be like a...
Oh, it'll be up on our socials as well. So it'll be up on the
later?
website, and you'll be able to watch it later. Yep. Watch it from wherever you like to watch things.
The toilet for me.
Toilet.
Yep.
Couch. Shed. I don't know. What's the weirdest place you've watched something, Jared? Let's not go there, he says.
We're a bit too highbrow for that.
All right, last one. So South Korea. We don't have to wrap it up. I want to hear more about you, Nick, because I haven't, I feel like I haven't heard about, your school holidays.
I finished school a long time ago.
Not your school holidays, these school holidays, of which you were on leave.
No, I wasn't. I took one day off.
It's going nowhere.
Yeah, you took an entire week off. Like, I'm happy to talk to you.
You could have asked me, Nick, but you haven't.
Yeah. Okay, Lee.
What did I do?
What did you do?
Well, I had a great time. I went to, it was my son's birthday. We went to Monster Trucks. Thanks for asking. I thought you'd never
As in
asked.
like the real monster trucks?
Yeah, I went to the real
Did
Monster
you take
Trucks.
headphones?
Yeah,
Like-
I did.
oh,
Well,
okay.
the plugs you put in.
plugs, whatever, yeah.
It was pretty wild.
Yeah.
Monster Trucks are good fun.
I went maybe a few months ago, actually, with Adrian's kid as well. So I didn't just take Adrian's kid. I was there with my children. We had a spare ticket. So my daughter wasn't going. She's like 7, but she was like, "Oh, I'll come," because I had a spare ticket for some reason. My 3-year-old it was really there for him. My mate and his 3-year-old, and Adrian, our CEO, and his 3-year-old came. And sorry, I've just like totally hijacked you.
That's good. This is.
But
I knew it. I asked it for a reason.
yeah, so my daughter, my 7-year-old, was like kind of watching them. Like we all had our headphones on. These things are unbelievably loud,
So
and it was
loud.
an enclosed stadium as well. So the sound must have just been echoing like crazy. There's a guy there yelling on a microphone, like trying to yell over the sound of these trucks. So it was absolute mayhem with noise wise. But my daughter took her book and she was just reading her book while these monster trucks are like flying through the sky and crashing. And I've got this photo of her just reading her book while she's doing that. Anyway, Adrian turned up a bit late. We had his the headsets, like the earmuffs for his kid, and so this kid was just experiencing the full raw noise of these trucks. Like they are
It's so loud.
unbelievably loud. And he's just immediately crying and like, hugging Adrian. He's like, "I don't want to be here." And we get there and he quickly put the earmuffs on him, and it's too late. And so like Adrian literally, I reckon about 3 minutes later, he's like, "Guys, I got to go."
I hate
And
it
just
when you
turned
feel
around and left because
I went to, they have a special room for those kind of kids.
no, he's a normal kid. It was just too loud.
Wow.
Mine's normal too. But
Where is?
an acoustic room where you can watch it on TV.
Okay, that seems pointless. You
'cause-
just,
'cause some
just watch
kids
some
don't like
YouTube
that.
videos.
Oh, it was so good. You know what? I've got a lot of respect now for Sparkle Smash.
Okay.
I went in there because my son's a big Gravedigger fan, and Gravedigger was good. Don't get me wrong, but Sparkle Smash, I can't remember the name. There's a lady who drove it. She was awesome. She smashed it.
Are you sure it was a lady? Because we had a lady truck driving around in pink and purple and whatnot, and then the lady truck won. I was like, oh, good on the girls for winning this thing. It's obviously a male dominated. And
Yeah.
then the driver gets out and it's this fat bald dude.
No,
I'm like, what?
No, the drivers they show the drivers up on the screen.
Okay, I couldn't see it. I
And
wasn't
like
watching.
it's like I can't remember her name.
But it was
and-
actually a lady.
yeah, it was a lady.
Well, okay,
Yeah,
alright.
and she just dominated. In fact, the best thing
Was
I
she
saw.
driving a boy truck?
No, it was Sparkle Smash is like a
Yeah, sounds
one of those
pretty
like
good.
My Little Pony things that had like a big unicorn
right.
thing, and
Right.
yeah, it was awesome.
That sounds
She
unfair.
killed it. Oh,
They
she just
got this
dominated.
horn on the front.
And there was another lady who drove Thor. Now Thor, honestly, when they do the expression session, like the freestyle, and they can just go as mad as they want. They're trying to trash those things. She found this one ramp, and like on the first jump, like she flew around, went to the first jump. She launched it so hard, like it was the biggest jump of the day. Like it came down, and like the wheel just like bang, just smashed
Oh,
right off.
wow.
Yeah, it was huge.
We didn't
She
get
just
any of
set it
that.
so big on the first jump, she wrecked it. I was like, yes, what a legend.
Did you have the little mini trucks as well? The little mini ones?
Oh, I've got some at home. Like
No. I mean, I mean, in the arena, they got the normal sized giant ones, and then they got this smaller, also fully like with a combustion engine and
Oh,
whatnot.
no,
But
no.
they're just kind of smaller little monster trucks.
No.
Did you get that? We had the big ones go, and then they had like little side event of the small monster trucks, and there's 4 of them kind of going around, and they're all just like following each other, doing this kind of synchronized thing. But there's this one yellow one who was completely off script, and he was just like doing these fishtails, and everyone else was like kind of backing away from him a bit, and he's going over the jumps like sideways and just making it and bouncing from his wheels, and
Sick.
it was so funny. And eventually he turned it twice, where these guys had to run on and flip him back onto his wheels. They were small enough that literally like 3 guys could kind of roll it back up.
Oh,
And eventually he destroyed his little roofy thing, like the shell of the car just came off completely. And so he was just driving around in this cage basically, and he was having the best time. And all the others are trying to do their job and get paid. And this guy's like, F that, eh."
Oh, it was so good.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So I just want to talk about monster
I think
trucks.
once was enough for me though. I don't know if I'd go back and see monster trucks again.
Yeah, I don't think I'd go back again. But it was good fun. And I said, the Thor. I hope maybe there's probably some footage on YouTube because she sent it so big on this first jump, like it just went bang, and the wheel just flew off. It was
wow.
awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cool.
Anyway,
Otherwise, no, I didn't do much. I spent like a week away from the family at the token event thing, which was kind of risky. And then the next week I just had to make up for lost time. But we're back at school, first day of school today. So back to the normal thing. Anyway,
it's good to be back.
yeah.
It's good to be back. All right. Well, I guess that was fun. I guess
It was good. I'm glad. Yeah.
Oh, it's good to see you again, Nick. I
missed
guess.
No, we're not doing that, Jared. Jared's trying to make us say that thing in unison again.
Till next time.
That shall not be named.
Yeah.
Trading.
All right.
All right. Well, we've wrapped up the news. It's good to be back. We will definitely be back next Tuesday and every Tuesday after. Adrian said Nick's never allowed to go on leave again.
I didn't go on leave. You're the one who was on leave.
I'm still allowed to go. Only if it involves like kid activities that you take the kids to ostensively, but really you want to go
it's
to.
just for you.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Happy trading.